This poem is called Shadow, and it's for my dear friend Shanti. It's bad, darling. The phone call from across the water seemed like a dream, or a nightmare rather. Your voice never faltered as you told me everything. I listened in disbelief at the story of death and destruction. You were calm, reporting to me it like it was a tragedy you'd seen on the news, happening to someone else, but it was all yours. He'd taken them both with him to their death, him, her, almost you. But you refused. I never knew you were so strong. Imagine little you standing up to him who towered above you, so tough. I felt like I didn't know you for a moment. My little Dutch sister, who I always looked after, making you English tea and running around for, as you lazed on the sofa. And now this, so unafraid, so fierce. You fought him for your life. Motherhood must have made you into a lioness, with a roar so mighty that somehow through a miracle of your sheer force you were still here. You got out against the odds. I cried silent tears down the phone. You got out. Thank Christ you got out. I felt shame for feeling relief when your baby boy was gone. To try to assuage the guilt, I pointlessly bartered with the truth. Why could it not have been both of them who managed to struggle free? Could they not have both lived? Why couldn't he have just left him behind? How could a father harm his own child? I was livid. The anger began to bubble, but I kept it away from my tone as you were so peaceful, serene almost. The shock perhaps, but now something more, presence to it all. You sounded like an angel, and clearly he had been the devil. As the call ended, I felt my own force of evil come through. This was new to me. Shocked by the strength of it, I needed to run. From it, to it, fueled by it. As I put on my running shoes, I could see his face. I could feel the red mist descending, blood pulsing through my veins, pure hatred. So I ran and ran, as if I was chasing him, spurred on by the repulsion I felt, my feet moving faster than ever, hatred consuming me, white rage towards him. I also wanted to kill, like he had. The noise of my own darkness purged out of me and stopped me in my tracks. I had never seen these emotions up close. My feeble heart had avoided them so far. But here I was being forced into feeling them all, like it or not. Anger, rage, sadness, confusion, injustice, fear. My shadow side here at last. The real work had begun. And I cried like a wounded animal for it all. For you, for your son, and for her. But not for him, no way. I spat out my disgust and more tears came when I realised that I was just like him. That I too possessed that violence, if only in thoughts. And so I cried for my guilty, angry heart who could only choose pain and hate like he had. And after what seemed like only hours later, my plane was landing and I was in the same country as you again, where everyone knew the story, where you were all over the news and in the papers, and I felt satisfied that more people would hate him too, that a whole nation would be judging him and what he had done, just like I did. I was still raging as I got out of the taxi at the crematorium, trying to keep my angry tears at bay, until I walked into that room and saw you. My heart exploded. A few precious moments observing you unnoticed. You seemed so grown up, so comfortable in your skin. How can this be? You radiated joy and happiness whilst others openly cried. I had half expected the shock to have worn off, that you would be sat in the corner sobbing and being the grieving mother in black. But no, this was the opposite. You seemed to be this powerhouse of strength, and I felt shamed towards myself for having been in the drama and the pain, when you seemed to have chosen only grace and love. In fact, you weren't just choosing love, you were love. Love that now knew no fear. The worst had already happened. When our eyes finally connected, I realised that even though you had lost so much, you would never look so completely whole. And even with all that death, you would never look so alive. And despite all that pain, you had never possessed such beauty and such light. You walked towards me smiling despite this painful reunion, and I felt only awe that even in the middle of all this darkness, your tender, broken heart was filled with a light that seemed to be the size of the entire fucking universe. And you continued to beam your light in the days, months, and now years on. And I could not be more proud, my darling, brave, incredible friend. Thank you.